welcome back, Fire Addicts, to another episode of Travis Does Firewood. Today we're talking about cords. Alright, so this may be obvious to many of you, but I wanted to talk about this. You should all know by now, if you produce firewood, if you sell firewood, you do both, or you just like watching YouTube videos on firewood, that I get. But in terms of a cord, okay, we're talking about volume here is 128 cubic feet, okay? But how does one get to that? Okay, I think that the standard and or the lawful way to go about that is to have a 16-inch length stick of firewood, and you make 3 rows, okay? And you go 4 feet wide, 4 feet high, 8 feet long. 4 times 4 times 8 is 128 cubic feet. And then if you have 16 inches of sticks, this is a 4-foot wide pallet here. You have 1 stick, 16 inches, 2 stick at 16 inches, and you had 3 stick at 16 inches, and that is 3 rows across, okay? 3 rows. Now, that's the standard and or what a cord or a face cord or a third of a cord would be in terms of like using a standard length, uniform length. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I've had troubles with procuring cords of wood from folks and have it be actual cords. And maybe a few times, not too many, which is good. But the last time I bought a cord of wood, I didn't stack it. I didn't measure it, but it didn't seem like a cord. Maybe like a half a cord, because it was in a truck bed, and it was a bad scenario. And even if it was in terms like a 4x4x8, the lengths were not standard. They were not at 16. They were like at 10. They were at 18. They're in 20s. A lot of them were at like 12. Well, can you produce a cord with different lengths of wood? Let's find out. All right, so I have another scenario for you. And again, I'm not sure why you would do this. I mean, for a customer with a small wood stove, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, in theory, there has to be different ways to make a full cord than just having it be at a standard 16 inches, okay? In terms of math and numbers, we are going to decrunch and figure out how many different ways we can do it. Now, if I'm off on any of this math, please let me know down in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So here we go. Here's another way. If your firewood sticks are at 12 inches, okay? 12 inches. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's on the ground, but it's 4 feet. So if the sticks are 12 inches long, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 4 rows, and you stack that 4 feet high, and you go the 8 feet long. That's 128 cubic feet. That's another way of doing it. You have your 3 rows, your standard 3 rows here, 16 inches. But also, if you felt the need, or if you had a specific customer wanting shorter cuts, you can cut them at 12 inches, make your 4 rows, and stack like you would normally stack. 4 feet high, 8 feet long, rock, or you have a cord, a solid cord, no air gaps. I mean, when you're stacking, I don't like stacking my wood too tight because I want to make sure there's airflow. But just do your normal stack job and go your 4 feet high and your 8 feet long, and you have a cord. 12-inch lengths, 4 rows. That's one more way of doing it, okay? This is not satire. I'm just doing math here. So let's try another way, okay? All right, so similar to the 4 12-inch lengths, if you do your math or know your math, we have 2 sticks at 24 inches or 2 feet each. So if you had like a wood boiler or a customer who wanted longer lengths, or you got a bunch of tree service wood and they cut it at 24 inches or 2 feet long, and you did not want to buck it up and make them shorter to make a piece that's rated standard at 16, and then you have a cookie, you could do this. You could definitely do this. Again, you have each stick's gonna be 24 inches long, and you have 2 rows, and do your normal 4 feet high, 8 feet long, and you got a cord. Okay, that is another option. It's just another option in terms of math and numbers. Now I'm using whole numbers, or as I'm not using like a 3.8 inches or like 4 1/4 inches. I'm using round whole numbers to make the math easy. I don't think anyone's gonna measure with a chainsaw to measure 14 3/4 inches. This is not, we're not doing framing our house or doing finish work, folks. We're cutting and splitting firewood. So round numbers are the way to go. So in theory, or not theory, in practice, if you felt the need or wanted to, or had longer logs and you're gonna split it, you could do this. Now, in terms of having to split a 2 feet long stick of firewood, that may be difficult. I don't think even the big box splitters go that long or wide for a ram. I guess you would have to have hand split with an axe or with a maul and or a metal wedge. But I'm just saying you can produce 2 rows of 24-inch length sticks. I'm just saying, okay? Is there any more? Let's find out. All right, so another option here. I'm just giving you options. You can cut and split however long lengths you want to. I don't think we can go into like mini splits too, but in terms of like, I mean, we have standard and we have other variations. I'm just giving you options here, folks. So another option here is a full-on 48-inch length stick of firewood. Now, obviously, this is not going to fit in your regular fireplace or stove. This would maybe fit in one of those massive wood boilers, and I would say one of the most famous ones out there is Brandon's over at Whiskey River Trading Co. He has one of those massive wood boilers, and he can put on full-on logs in his boiler. It's amazing to see. So I'm just saying, not in theory, in practice, if you wanted to, you could take 48-inch lengths, 1 row, stack it 4 feet high, 8 feet long, and there's your cord. Now, I'm not sure how you would split that. What I would think, if you ever wanted to do that, you would have one of those massive boilers and not split it at all, and or one of you would take like branches that are like yay round, and you cut those up at like 48 inches, and then you'd make your cord. I'm not sure how you wouldn't want to burn that or could burn that in a regular wood stove fireplace. At least here, it would only be for like a boiler type scenario setting. I'm just saying, number wise, you can do a full 48-inch or 4 foot long piece and stack that 4 feet high, 8 feet long. I'm just, with the numbers, that's one of the options, but I think there's a few more. Should we continue? Let's do it. All right, so another option here is they're gonna be smaller cuts. So let's go with 8-inch lengths. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got 6, okay? Because 6 times 8 is 48. 48 inches is 4 feet. So with that as well, we got pieces that are 6 inches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have pieces that are 6 inches long, and we have pieces that are 8 inches long to make our cord. So if we had pieces that are the 6 inches long, we got 8 rows. If we got pieces that are 8 inches long, we have 6 rows. Stack that again, 8 feet long, 4 feet high, rock and roll, you got a cord. Now I think that these smaller lengths may be good for the mini splits. Now in terms of like the different types and brands or subtypes of the mini tabletop stoves, I think it's between 4 and 6, or sorry, either 4 inches, 5 inches, or 6 inches. It all depends on the different manufacturers, and or maybe even the burner wants a little bit smaller or longer lengths. But I'm not sure if you ever would want to stack these types of mini splits. I would say to throw them in a pile and pick from them. But I'm just saying, in practice, maybe in theory, this one, that you could do both 8-inch lengths and 6-inch lengths, do your math and do your rows, and you can come out with a perfect full cord at 128 cubic feet. These are numbers, folks. These are numbers. Again, this is not satire. I'm making numbers here. So these are rows of uniform the same length. Can we make a cord with varying lengths? Let's find out. All right, so there are some variations to this. If we had 124, so take off 124, and took 2 of the 12-inch lengths, that would get us the full cord. So you had 1 row of 24, and you had 2 rows of the 12s, again, 8 feet long, 4 feet high. That would give you a cord. Similar to that, if you're taking 1 24-inch and you're gonna go over here, take 4 of the 6-inch lengths, that again would give you another full cord. So we got 1 row at 24, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of the 6-inchers. That's just math. You got your cord. Again, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. I'm just saying that is possible. There are more than one way to make a full cord of wood. That's the point of the episode. More than one way. It's having 3 rows of the 16 inchers is not the only way to make a cord. Okay, that's just math. We're doing math here, okay? There's more than one way. So those are the only variations of different sizes put together in rows to make a full cord. If you are better than math than me, please let me know down in the comments what your findings are. But there are, I guess, at least 3 options of varying lengths. I'm sure there has to be more. But in terms of like each length was standard, uniform, the same length, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. 6 options. Okay? And then with the varying length, add another 3 more. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 3, 9. At least 9 options of lengths of wood put in rows, 8 feet long, 4 feet high, to make your cord. And these are just options, okay? So again, recap. We have your standard 16 inches, 3 rows, okay? Then we're getting into some smaller splits. You have your 6 inches long pieces, 8 of those rows. And then on the flip side of that one, we have 8-inch pieces, 6 of those rows. And then we have your foot long pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, 4 rows, making your cord. And then we got our a 24-inch lengths, 2 rows of those, okay? And then you got your big mamma jamma, your 40-inch length piece of firewood. Make that row long, make it high. So, what do you think about this? Does it make sense? Is my mathing incorrect? Let me know if anything of my calculations are wrong. Again, in terms of the video, this pallet is upright, it's at a slant, and these rows of sticks are sitting on the ground, leaving a little inch up here. They are the correct length. I cut them with my chop saw using a tape measure. I know how to use both, so don't get confused by this little gap up here. These are full length pieces in my example. And the wood I'm cutting, if you're curious, this is some of the scrap cedar that I get from my cedar guy. So, what are your thoughts on this? Does it make sense? Is it not relevant to you? Is it gonna help you produce more cords? If you have customers who want varying size splits, not the uniform 16-inch, would this be helpful? Would this be helpful for if you have your own small little wood stove in your garage or in your shop that takes smaller splits? Would this be helpful for you to make sure that you are producing a full cord when you're preparing to burn in that mini wood stove? Just food for thought. I maintained a while ago that there's different ways to make a cord, and here's my evidence. Here is my demonstration of different ways. At least 9 different ways. If you can find different variations of lengths used, let me know down in the comments. I want to know so we can add to how many ways. We can make a chart, whatever else. But this is, in terms of the same length, we got these. So there you have it, folks. Different ways to make a full cord. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Until next time, remember, life's too short to be a prick, so be kind to one another. Rock and roll. We'll stay safe. Keep cutting. Cheers.